Cool, I'm finally in a nicer body.
Otterssoul, your soul is mine.
Otterssoul.
What?
It's pronounced Otterssoul. 2 S's.
No, you are the Otterssoul, predicted by prophecy to destroy the demons. We have brought you to this place to trap your soul and defeat you.
I literally just changed which body my soul is in. How is that trapping me?
It will be trapped when I kill you.
Yeah, kinda sick of being in this world. Going back to mine. Logging out. For the last week of the month of requests, let's discover Omikron, the Nomad Soul, requested by Belial. This is the brainchild of Eidos and father of emotions, David Cage. I love story-driven experiences, so maybe this one's worth being excited for. Then again, David Cage. Murdered, sole suspect. Maybe this one should be leaving me terrified. Then again, why would my friends steer me wrong? In Final Approximation, see my last 2 videos. It's safe to say I went into this game fairly apprehensive. Right away I was a bit confused as soon as I started the game. Movement controls, swimming controls, shooting controls, and fighting controls. This immediately comes across as a game with a lack of focus. Then again, if it can successfully combine all of these elements, this will be quite the experience. It can it? Only one way to find out. I began the game proper and oh, hi dude. A world in danger, yeah. I mean, yeah, sure, I'll help you out, I guess. A whole new, oh crap. No sooner do we touch down than we're assaulted by a demon. Before it can devour more than a part of my soul, a giant robot stomps in, driving it away. Welcome to Omikron, also known as George Orwell with terrifyingly pixelated boobs. I mean, I know it's gonna be bad for me, but that sounds like some good stuff. Oh, it's not a Kloops, I really like beer. We're a detective who works for the corrupt state. No one knows where we've been for the last 2 weeks, and it's up to us to piece back together the murder of our partner, as well as the truth behind the case we were working on at the time. 2 thoughts right away. First is, oh dear god, tank controls. This is so hard to control. Second thought, I love this idea. Every single thing chains on to the next. Some things will even have multiple solutions, such as the multiple ways that you can get inside of the archives in the police department. Everything is intuitable with a strong thread of logic to tie it all together. Exploring each new area is fun, things can be discovered that are clear and visible, and you really feel like you're uncovering a mystery. The idea of opening a walkthrough to figure out where to go next and what to do is something that never even crossed my mind because I was too busy just having a blast. Every conversation is strangely meta too. We have the option from the outset to go into every NPC interaction blatantly obvious about our being a video game player that's simply controlling a digital body. In fact, that's a deep, important part of the game. When you agreed at the start of the game to help out, your soul was stolen away to Omikron, and if you ever want your soul to return safely to our world, you'll have to beat the game. Well, as thrilled as I am to find out I had a soul in the first place after all, I'm not really noticing any difference, and I'm still moving fine. Oh well.
If you remain in that world unprotected, a demon will find your soul and drag you off for eternal torment.
Come on! Okay, fine. So you can follow the trail of intrigue and mystery until you reach the secret lair of the demons hidden within the police headquarters itself. You get into a firefight with zombie-like remnants of humans and destroy their portal to hell. Good game, good to have my soul back. What do you mean the game isn't over? What do you mean the game isn't even halfway over? Hang on, that was the perfect ending point. You set up this magnificent game, sure it'd be kinda short, but short and amazing with a perfectly set up mystery story is fine. I mean, what am I supposed to do now? Apparently, saving the world from going to hell by destroying the demon's portal isn't the same as saving the world. Instead, we now have to join the resistance and the game falls apart. Yes, remember how I was praising the chain of clues to solve the mystery, and how everything naturally flowed into each other? Well, all of that is replaced with joining the resistance and following exactly what they tell you to do without any real mystery or chain between what you do. Each job will have its own chain of logic, but in the first half of the game, it all felt natural. Now it feels like the threads of logic are being forced on us in order to give us something to do in order to qualify as a game. Your orders are to blow up a bridge. Go talk to the robot shopkeeper to pick up bombs. But which bombs do you need? Well, you don't know, and the robot somehow doesn't know. So go find the one guy in the hidden compound that does know. Bring the info back to the robot so that you can go into a first-person maze and shoot at enemies that are magically aware of your presence without ever needing to see you and rip massive chunks off your health. And there's nothing more unpleasant than first-person mazes, right? Well, if you answered first-person mazes with verticality, you were right. The mission after the bridge has that. Because, yeah, that mission works the same way. Go through a scavenger hunt, not a puzzle, a scavenger hunt to find the item or items that will progress the area so that you can go into a first-person maze shootout to solve a basic environmental puzzle to be shoved along to the next mission. The game has lost everything that made it unique and beautiful in exchange for doing things any other game can do better. Why can they do it better? Because the controls in this game are destroyed. The glitches are overabundant too. There's completely different controls for each part of the game. So there's controls for exploring, for swimming, for shooting, for brawling, everything. And those controls are mapped really badly. But be careful when you remap them because sometimes your new mapping won't work. I died repeatedly in the first swimming section because I'd bowed swim to left control and it simply refused to work. The game would not acknowledge the button. And yes, the button works, that's the control that I tend to use in most situations for keyboard commands. I tried binding swim to several other keys before I finally gave up and left the binding exactly how it was in the default for swimming in order to just get through the game. I also couldn't run for a long time as that was mapped to a button the game was ignoring the existence of as well. So I spent several hours jumping everywhere instead since I would have needed to quit the game back to the menu to rebind the commands. Lucky for me that I didn't quit until I was done streaming for the day because I had a surprise waiting for me when I got back. Not enough memory on my graphics card to run the game. This game released before the turn of the century, before Cage lost the plot, is too powerful for my computer that I built for the purpose of running graphics. Excuse me, what? This is apparently a fairly common glitch where you turn up the graphical settings to the highest resolution to fit the screen. And instead of opening in that resolution, the game says you don't have the power no matter how much power you do have. The workaround is to hunt down the executable file in its little folder nestled deep at the bottom of 100 other folders and run it as if your computer was a Windows XP. So let me just get this clear. So to get the game to run, I have to simply convince it that my computer is significantly downgraded. Yeah, that makes sense. Another fairly common glitch that drove me up a wall was a misplaced kill plane. At one point you have to interact with a zipline to get over toxic goo that's so obviously lethal, but when you jump down on the other side of that goo, you die. Over and over and over. The only solution I could find that actually worked was to jump so you land on a protruding bit of wall and then hop your way along it, getting shot at from your right, until you finally get to a slope that will let you pass over the misplaced kill plane to drop down between two enemies already shooting at you in a shooting section that already takes away massive chunks of your health with each shot. The glitches and control issues compounded on the game already taking on too many things. With 4 different modes, not enough work could go into each to make them good enough. As I said earlier, shooting sections will either be pathetically easy with brain-dead AI, or impossible with enemies that know your location long before they've appeared out of the draw distance to attack. The hand-to-hand fighting is a complete and utter joke that is frankly a waste of your time for reasons I'll get into later, and the swimming is as easy to control as a woman, with contextual interactions that take place underwater drowning you before you can even get them to respond to you. The exploring, though, that's great. Everything has a well-balanced atmosphere shifting back and forth from threatening metallic city to the catacombs and underworlds of the long-gone mages later in the game. Even places that you have no reason to ever explore will still have interesting interactions. Okay, so maybe the animations were creepy, but the music was awesome, so let's keep exploring. Oh, so it's another club like the last two. Yeah, I'm looking for a dancer, so this must be my lead. Let's see, what's this little room? Oh, yeah, that's not that much money. What am I paying for? Oh god, it's terrifying! Let me out, please! I swear I'll never look at boobs again, just let me out! Back on track with what's left of the story. You go through the missions that the rebels want you to do, you expose a demon in their ranks that's making life even more difficult, find an incredibly powerful and rare magical object that the rebels hadn't found yet because nobody wanted to go swimming, before you finally are able to meet the head of the rebels, Boz. He's a human that, as he died, uploaded his consciousness to the internet of this world. He spearheads the resistance against the demons and the societal leaders. He is also David Bowie. I mean that very literally, he is Bowie. You remember the concert earlier? That was Bowie too. He wrote an album's worth of songs for this game, and frankly, all the music in this game is awesome. It's only a pity that Bowie wasn't in it more. Yes, I know his name is Boz. I don't care, he's Bowie. That way, as long as I have this game, Bowie isn't dead. He's just uploaded to the internet waiting to save us from ourselves. So they built up Bowie being able to help us save ourselves once we finally got to meet him, so what can you do for us?
Nothing, tra-la-la.
Well, anything more than that would have been out of character for this second half of the game. There's still one unique aspect of the game left in the second half, however. Reincarnation. Whenever you die, someone runs over and you reincarnate into their body instead. Now, this I don't mind. I did badly, I lose the character I was working with. However, to get past some points in the story, you must reincarnate. So you can be in a character you find really cool, and you have to give them up because the story says so. If you could return to that body afterwards, I'd be fine with this, but no, you are now stuck permanently as a dorky, useless researcher. As an insanely ugly blue dude. As a prison guard that looks like he took a dump in his pants sometime before you took him over. But I don't want to take her over, this body's more useful. Oh. That's literally it. That's all I need this character for? Give me back my body! To make all of this worse, the hand-to-hand fighting mechanics are based on how much hand-to-hand fighting you've done with that character. You can spend insane amounts of time and money trying to train your character to be really good at fighting for the hand-to-hand sections, but it all means nothing the moment you have to swap bodies to continue the story and all that work resets. And yes, it will not only take time but a lot of money, because even if you're fighting in a training simulator, any damage you take is not replenished. So if you want to get good at brawling, you'd better be loaded and ready to lose at a moment's notice. It's useless to train up anyways, every fight works the same. Hold back to block, wait for them to open up, mash light punch until they start blocking again, repeat until victory. So at the will of Bowie, you go and find a long-forgotten underworld to get a treasure living mortals dare not touch, to find a warrior that battled the king of the demons centuries ago, to get his sword with the souls of all but one of the world's living mages of that time, to take over his body so that you can have a shootout with the ultimate demon. I hated this shootout. You have to get behind the demon, shoot him in a specific spot on his back, and then keep shooting him there while jockeying back and forth to keep him from being able to turn around. There were plenty of times I would shoot the weak point dead on, but the shots somehow didn't count. I spent an insane amount of time on this fight and almost gave up before I remembered There's a difficulty mode for each part of the game, so I turned him down to easy and fought him for another hour or two before finally I won. Bowie and the white-haired chick that helped me along the way wish me farewell before my soul returns to my body. So this is what having a soul again feels like. Oh, it's invigorating, it's exciting! I'm already bored of it.
Well, I can fix that whole soul problem for you. Just sign here.
I see no reason to be suspicious of this. So, looking back at the game as a whole, the first half of the game, up until you destroy the first demon portal, is wonderful. It'd easily be in my top 10 games I've played for the show if it weren't for one thing, and that thing is the entire second half of the game, which was at best subpar, and frankly that's being charitable to the second half. Bowie's amazing, but he can only do so much. Cage took on too much, let it overwhelm both himself and his team, and the beautiful, carefully constructed world and story fell apart around itself. I think I can see what the goal was. With all the different modes of interaction with the world, it can feel more alive. And it could if they were all pulled off perfectly, but when you put too much on the plate, it's more likely that all the flavors will just blend together into mush. Some parts of that mush might be fairly pleasant, but it's still mush. I would advise that anyone discover Omikron. The first half of the game really is that good. The game would be a prime candidate for being remade in the modern era with all new graphics, engine, and story pieces. It would need to be redone by someone who isn't David Cage, because his track record has shown that he will mess up anything and should not be allowed to get near this. He'll just make everything that was good be on level with the second half. Since that seems to be off the table, though, go out and play the old one. It's actually pretty cheap on Steam. Only once you blow up the demon's portal, you will probably want to just put the game down and go discover something else. I mean, who really needs a soul anyway? Otterssoul! Your soul is mine!
Said Otterssoul.
How do we show up in the camera right now, aside from magnificently gay?
Go.
But dude, I literally just got this spot 12 seconds ago. Also, I did purposely aim it so they should be able to read corrupting the government on the back.
Beautiful.
This is up. This is down.
I've got a recording us going in and out of the bathroom on the screen. You can't even tell what we're doing in there. We're just stepping in and out of the bathroom.